Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Fascinating week 3 matchup. Tulane heading on the road to play the Oklahoma Sooners. And you look at this Tulane team, there's a reason that this game's only 14-point spread with Tulane heading on the road to Norman. Because this Tulane team's legit. And you take a look back at the film of what we just saw against Kansas State, a legitimate top 20 team in the country. Tulane was the better football team Saturday afternoon. Now, did they win that football game? No, but they very well could have. They outgained Kansas State by over 100 yards. I think they have one of the more young, talented quarterbacks that you see in the country in Darian Mensah. You talk about a guy that, at least in my opinion, just fell through the cracks out of the high school recruiting ranks. I don't know how this kid made his way down to Tulane from California, but this was a gem that Tulane found on the high school trail. 6'3", 215, pushes the ball down the field exceptionally well. He's a good athlete extending plays. This kid's a box checker, and you're going up against an Oklahoma team that I've been really impressed with what Oklahoma has done on the defensive side of the football. The story is this Oklahoma offense, and can they find a rhythm against Tulane heading into SEC play? Want to get into a few players and key matchups that I see in this football game. Obviously, give my pick and prediction at the end. Now, before we get into it, as always, just want to say thank you to you guys. And these game previews and predictions, they've been an absolute blast for me. The amount of support y'all have shown the boys, it's been amazing. Can't thank you guys enough. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Much more important, let it fly in the comment section. That's the best part about doing this, is talking ball with you guys, seeing how you guys view this matchup. And without further ado, let's get into this one. And I want to start with this Tulane offense that I cannot tell you how impressed I am with what I saw against Kansas State, a historically very disciplined and solid defense that Kansas State has. Tulane gave them a lot of issues, particularly in that passing attack where Tulane was able to get guys wide open down the field. Now, they do a variety of different things, whether it's different formations, different looks, or pre-snap motions. Whatever they were doing and saw within that Kansas State defense, a veteran group in the back end for Kansas State, they were busting guys wide open in that passing attack. Most notably, familiar face for the Oklahoma fans, Mario Williams. He's playing at Tulane. He can work vertically down the field. He can operate with the football in his hands. The Oklahoma fans know how talented Mario Williams is, and he is a centerpiece within this Tulane offense. But it all really goes through Darian Mensah, who on the season, 70% completion percentage, 547 yards, 4 touchdowns to 1 interception. Now, the key to stopping Tulane, at least from what I got watching that Kansas State game, was two different things. One, you can't have the busting coverages that Kansas State had. Now, Oklahoma, outside of that one busted coverage against Houston, there's not been a lot of guys running wide open against Oklahoma, which is a little bit of a difference between 2022 and 2023, where you did have some busted coverages. Oklahoma's been much tighter in that situation. I think most importantly, though, you look at when Kansas State kind of, for lack of a better term, turned the tides in that football game. It's when they were able to affect Darian Mensah as a passer with their pass rush. This is where I think Oklahoma has a massive advantage. You look at this Oklahoma team the first 2 weeks, this reminds you of those dominant Brent Venables defenses that we saw back at Clemson. Like, we're going to attack the quarterback. We're going to play downhill. We're going to create tackles for loss. We're going to create sacks. We're going to create third and long kind of situations. This Oklahoma front seven is legit, at least in my opinion. And I think they have a very good chance of overmatching Tulane. Darren Mensah is going to cut you up if you don't get to him in the pass rush. And so I think the biggest key for Oklahoma, and probably the best avenue of really disrupting this Tulane offense, is getting after the quarterback, heating up a young quarterback that, although is very talented, shows that he's young when he's in the face of pressure. That's the biggest key on that side of the ball. Now, going over to this Oklahoma offense, you got to find a rhythm. That's kind of what we talked about yesterday. And it's been frustrating to turn on the film for Oklahoma. And it's even more frustrating, quite frankly, to listen to Seth Luttrell get up there in the press conference and say, we got to be better on third downs. Yeah, that's true. Why are you so bad on third downs right now? Because you're losing. You're getting your tail whipped on first and second downs. I mean, Oklahoma has had no run game. They're going backwards. They're committing penalties. The problems with Oklahoma on third downs are not third down play executions. The problem is you're consistently behind the chains and being in third and long situations where you're not meant to convert on those plays. Oklahoma has to find some sort of ability to be better staying on schedule. And I think it starts with the run game. I would like to see a little, and one of y'all in the comments section said this when we recapped the Oklahoma game. Let's see a little bit more outside zone stuff. Let's get these running backs in space a little bit more because the inside zone, the power concepts, this Oklahoma offensive line hasn't really shown that they can physically impose their will and move guys off the line of scrimmage. You got to play to your unit strength. And I think your strength here is getting your running backs like Taylor Tatum or Gavin Sawchuk or Javante Barnes a little bit more out in space. But whatever it is, whether it's just an extension of the run game with some swing passes, Oklahoma needs to do a better job staying on schedule and winning on first and second down. I think the second storyline here is I'd like to see better execution, I would say, in terms of attacking the deeper third. And I say execution because they're trying to attack the deeper third. Jackson Arnold threw 7 footballs, 20 plus yards down the field against Houston. He completed one of them. Yes, it falls on Jackson Arnold, who you can't really. I'm not out on Jackson Arnold. You guys know I'm a huge fan of Jackson Arnold. He just did not play a good football game against Houston. And when the offensive line is struggling and you're working with your 2s and 3s at wide receivers, you're not necessarily meant to have a lot of success if your quarterback's not playing great football. Nick Anderson coming back is, I think, going to be huge. You talk about Oklahoma. One of the things we were most excited for this Oklahoma offense with Jackson Arnold running the show was pushing the ball downfield and hitting explosive plays. Nick Anderson's the guy. He has been healthy for the first 2 weeks. I would be very surprised if he does not play against Tulane. I think this is, quite frankly, a game where they're going to need Nick Anderson. If you can get Nick Anderson going vertically down the field, make this defense respect more what you can do vertically, it's only going to open up the offense for guys like Deion Burks or Bauer Sharp in the underneath concepts. So if you're Oklahoma, you got to run the football and find a way to stay in rhythm and win on first and second down. Really hard as a play caller, Seth Luttrell, if you're consistently in those third and long situations. You look at how this Oklahoma offense wants to operate. It's a rhythm. They want to go fast. They want to rack up the first downs. It's hard to go fast and stay in a rhythm when you're losing on first and second down, you're committing penalties. So I think that's the key for Oklahoma, pushing the ball down the field when they have the opportunity. Now, getting into the pick here, 14 and a half points now for Oklahoma at home against Tulane. It's really hard to, and I think a lot of Oklahoma fans would probably agree with this. It's hard right now to bet on Oklahoma to cover 2 touchdowns in terms of how we've seen this offense operate, specifically week 2. I do think they rebound. I think they're getting better on the offensive line. At least Spencer Brown's not out there anymore. I think there's been some growing pains in terms of Seth Luttrell coming in and operating with Jackson Arnold. I think you find this Oklahoma offense kind of finding their stride. And I think on defense, Oklahoma has a real chance to disrupt with what Tulane wants to do. I don't think Tulane has a great chance at pass protecting in this matchup. I think Oklahoma is probably going to dominate the line of scrimmage, specifically on the defensive side of the football. And we saw this Tulane offense can really be dangerous when Darian Mintz is clean. When he's not clean, he struggles. And I think Oklahoma is not going to allow him to be clean pocket passer in this football game. So I'm going to go Oklahoma to cover the 14 points. Don't love it. I think more importantly, one, we're looking at if Tulane can block up Oklahoma, but more importantly for Oklahoma, got to find a way to stay on rhythm and stay on schedule on the offensive side of the football. We'll close it out there. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. Again, let it fly in the comments section. Love talking ball with you guys, and we'll talk to y'all later.